Hi, I'm Rev Myron, and today I want to talk about A Course in Miracles. We're going to talk about chapter 15, section 1, the two uses of time. The last time we talked, we were looking at paragraph 3, and today we'll look at paragraph 4, which continues to talk about the ego's desire to make us suffer even after we die. Okay, so paragraph 4 says, the belief in hell is inescapable to those who identify with the ego. Their nightmares and their fears are all associated with it. The ego teaches that hell is in the future, for this is what all its teaching is directed to. Hell is its goal. For although the ego aims at death and dissolution as an end, it does not believe it. The goal of death, which it craves for you, leaves it unsatisfied. No one who follows the ego's teaching is without the fear of death. Yet if death were thought of merely as an end to pain, would it be feared? We've seen this strange paradox in the ego's thought system before, but never so clearly as here. For the ego must seem to keep fear from you to hold your allegiance, yet it must engender fear in order to maintain itself. Again, the ego tries and all too frequently succeeds in doing both by using dissociation for holding its contradictory aims together so that they seem to be reconciled. The ego teaches thus: death is the end as far as hope of heaven goes. Yet because you and the ego cannot be separated, and because it cannot conceive of its own death, it will pursue you still, because guilt is eternal. Such is the ego's version of immortality, and it is this the ego's version of time supports. You know, back in the day when I was Catholic, what I liked about the church was that the rules were clear. I knew what was a sin and which ones would send me to hell. And all I had to do was to steer clear of those. And yet I didn't. I really bought into the whole Catholic theology, and still I could not avoid those mortal sins. So what is the chance that I would go to heaven when I died? I could always hope that I would die right after confession just to be safe, but otherwise I was doomed. If I managed to avoid all mortal sin, I still had all those venial sins that would send me to purgatory for some undecided length of time where I would hopefully work off my sins. The weirdest thing about this theology is that I believed it. This is typical of what the ego offers us. We will die, but even in death, we will be punished. What I think is most important for me to realize is that the ego teaches that guilt is eternal. How very strange, but what else could we expect from this upside down world? We, the eternal beings God created, will die and then in death continue to suffer. And guilt, which is of the ego, will be eternal. You know, what I made for a long time was a daily mantra that I would use, and it was, there is no guilt, there is no death. And I would say that to myself frequently and use it to solve all my problems. And most of the belief in guilt is gone. I say that's really a funny way to say it, that most of a belief is gone. But what I mean by that is that I have done a lot of work on the idea of guilt, of releasing all the guilt in my mind. And I think that I've done that, but then once in a while, a guilt thought shows up. And so I know, okay, I'm not quite through yet, and that's okay. That's why I'm here. That's my job, is to look at the guilt in the mind and release it, knowing that guilt is not real. So thank you for being here with me. And we will look at the next part when we visit again. Bye-bye.